Hey, what's going on, everybody? Got a new microphone here, so our audio quality on the channel is going to be quite a bit better from now on, hopefully. Today, in the video, we're going to be talking about everything we know about Cyberpunk 2077 so far. So, as a lot of people know, especially if you're interested in this, they dropped what they said was episode 1 of Night City Wire, and that's going to be how they keep us updated on the game from now on. I watched it myself live, and I've seen some other people's videos on it, and one thing I enjoyed from what I saw of it is the how you start the game. So it has a deep character customizer, and one big thing everybody keeps hitting on is the fact you can customize your teeth, which is not something that a lot of games let you do. That's cool. A lot of customization, including more private parts. Everybody's real excited about that, I guess. So after you get through the character customizer, you actually get to pick how you start the game. And as of right now, from what we know, you get three choices of how you start the game: Nomad, Street Kid, and the corporate. Corporate. So this is really interesting. One thing that has me really excited about this is that the only game I remember giving you this kind of various way of starting the game really was Dragon Age Origins. And, I find it's still a pretty underrated game. One of the best games of all time, in my opinion, Dragon Age Origins. It's definitely better than the sequels. Uh, Dragon Age 2 tried to be too much like Dragon Age Mass Effect with a more linear hero character. And I kind of was disappointed with that, even though it did tell a really good story and had good gameplay. And then Dragon Age Inquisition, it went back to the roots a lot, but the there were key aspects of the gameplay that they really could have executed better, like being having a mount was just trash for a game that came out at that time. The mount, I mean, your party completely disappeared when you mounted, and it just didn't feel like you were even moving very fast. It felt like being on a mount and being off a mount was like the same speed, which is bizarre. And not to mention, there was no combat available. So, Skyrim even updated, and it released in 2011. It it updated to add mounted combat, like I think a year after the game came out. So like there was no excuse at that time for Inquisition to not have mounted combat of some kind. So I was trailing off anyway. But yeah, Dragon Age Origins, great game. So having option of even how you begin the game is a great sign for me. I mean, this got me really excited. I know, from what we know so far, from what other people who have played the game and gotten to play the intro, it sounds like playing as a nomad is going to be you're going to be out in the Badlands, which is like the wasteland around Night City, and it sounds like it's going to be more like a courier kind of stuff, like Fallout New Vegas or something, where you're delivering stuff around the Badlands. And I like the concept of a nomad more, but the gameplay doesn't really appeal to me that much. Seems like it's very driving heavy, and I'm as much as I'd like to explore the Badlands, I find that maybe Street Kid, the second one, might be more appealing because then you get an earlier start in the city and getting to explore the city and the underground of the city more. And that's what it's doing. You're kind of in the underground. I think they said in the beginning as a nomad, as a street kid, in the beginning of the game, you're like in a bar right after a bar fight, and So then you gotta commit some crimes. I think it's steal a car. Is what they've said. And then corporate is the last one. And in that, you're actually the member of a corporation, and you're trying to help out with some corporate espionage. Some stuff goes south, and you lose all your standing with the corporation. So that's an interesting way to go right off the bat. So you're actually part of a corporation in the beginning. So I wonder if the way they talk, it's going to be unique. Like in Dragon Age Origins, like how you started off. If you started off as a dwarf noble or a human noble, it would affect your relationship with nobles later on because you already know those people. And it sounds like CD Projekt Red is doing something very similar with that. It sounds like, if you go corporate route and then you try to develop relationships with corporations later on, you're already going to have a relationship with them. They're going to know you as the guy that screwed up. But maybe that'll be against you, maybe that'll be for you because they know that you have a corporate tie, you know. And I think that'll be really interesting. Okay, so yeah, those are the three different introductions that we're going to get to the game. And so the game will, right off the bat, just your very first choice will change how you even start the game. And that's a good sign. A lot of your choices are going to have serious repercussions. And it seems like they're committed to following through with that throughout the rest of the game. What it sounds like from what a lot of people who got hands-on gameplay with it, there are several features that they had locked that were in the game, but probably didn't have it polished enough yet and wanted a more controlled environment for the testers. And so it sounds like it definitely has some work to go, and I'm sure, considering CD Projekt Red's reputation, by the time it comes out in November, we'll have a nicely polished game, and that's good. So, moving on, some other stuff we got to see was we got to see a little more of Night City, got to see a few more characters. We learned that the Ripper Doc that we met in the previous gameplay, Victor Vector, he will not be the only Ripper Doc, and that they have comprehensive background for the character, and every character that we'll meet, that even if it's not in the game, that they have developed a comprehensive backstory for each character. Right? You know, it's just like playing a pen and paper game. Every character you have to have an idea in your mind for who they are. Who you're interacting with, and that's really cool. It sounds like another thing that we're going to get to see is maybe working with the police as some like vigilante missions. The police will give you like mercenary work. That's interesting. Some people who have gotten to play the game said that some side quests you'll get are similar to like Monster Hunter, where you'll hunt down like deranged cyborgs and get your hands on weapons. Um, Another thing that we got to see is a new feature, which is really exciting, that we haven't got to really see yet, and that is the Brain Dance. Brain Dance it's like a VR system. It's kind of like a VR Instagram, more or less. It's memories of a person, what they see, what they hear, what they smell, what they feel, everything captured and preserved, and you can relive other people's experiences. And it looks like the game's going to take advantage of that in the same fashion as things like Detroit Become Human and the Arkham series, where we saw that it's very similar features being used to do detective work. So that kind of comes as a bit of a surprise. Didn't really think about it as a detective kind of game. It kind of felt more like it was going to be more like a free, you were going to get a story, but more or less it was going to be like your rough mercenary, just rampaging through the city, more or less. So it seems like not only are we going to get a little more of a linear story, but we're also going to be doing like investigations and stuff. And that's really good for an RPG perspective because across the investigations, and a lot of good investigation games like Detroit Become Human, over the course of an investigation, depending on your ability to solve a crime or something, that can actually, you can choose the wrong suspect, you can accuse the wrong suspect and stuff like that. So I wonder if they'll take advantage of stuff like that, where like you use brain dance to find some evidence to prove whether or not somebody killed somebody or something like that, or committed a crime, and then maybe you missed something and it wasn't the person you thought it was, something along those lines. So it remains to be seen. But brain dance is an interesting feature to seeing going forward. Some people that got to play it found it kind of boring. You know, it is a feature that we've seen in other games, and it seems like the graphics take a pretty big downturn when you're in brain dance, because brain dance, everything's like holographic, so you're not like seeing a clear picture of everything when you're in the editor. It's but I digress. Uh, that's some of the stuff we got to see. What we've heard from people who've had their hands on the game, and between the just sheer player choice that we've seen CJ Project Red commit to, and the deep world that we've seen. They've said, people who played the game said that they only witnessed one loading screen in 4 hours, which is crazy. Minimizing loading screens is a big thing that people in the games industry have been trying to pull off for a long time. You know, they went several different directions. Trying to some developers will like hide loading by loading what's behind you while you're looking forward and stuff like that. That way, it's not always rendering everywhere you're looking. And then other developers have done stuff like instead of reducing your loading screens, putting like mini games in loading screens. That way, at least you're occupied. For like The Sims, I used to love playing the little mini games in The Sims where it's like I Spy. That was fun. But at the same time, I am playing The Sims, so maybe I would enjoy it more if had no loading screen to begin with. So with the new console generation, we're seeing that they're really trying to commit to reducing loading times, and maybe that's something that will really help out CD Projekt Red with this in terms of loading screens and loading time. We even heard that people who played the game, when they waited uh, time, skip time, like feature almost every game like this would have, that there was no loading time. There was no like you waited, screen cuts to black, loads back in, different time of day. No, it was they're talking like it was instantaneous, which is almost jarring if you think about it. Like it feels more natural for if you're waiting for for you to have like a fade to black or something. So the fact that it's instantaneous, I just can't wait to see it. And that's what we know so far. That's some things we've learned so far. Uh, Very excited. I think CD Projekt Red is committed to giving us an RPG like we haven't seen in a long time, if ever. And so, for more news on this and other topics, please stay tuned. Check on future videos, and I'll try to upload more now that I have better equipment. And if you like this, give me a like and a subscribe. Also upload gaming videos. They vary in quality. Trying to do better. Thank you for watching.